So today I am very happy to say that I will be talking about the final episode of the first season of Sentence to Be a Hero. If you did not see this, shortly after this episode aired, it was confirmed that season 2 is being worked on. So that is awesome news. But in the final episode of season 1, we see Kivia make the connections and find out that her uncle is indeed a coexister. She kills him, and then she herself is sentenced to be a hero. But a lot of really interesting things happen in this episode that I want to talk about. First off, though, is the revelation that Rhino is actually a demon lord. And this part was maybe a little confusing for me because it kind of just seemed like he was crazy and liked killing people. That's pretty much what he said. And he just kills Spriggan just like that. And we also learn that Boojum is apparently still alive, which I'm happy about. I thought he was a really interesting villain. I want to see more from him in the second season. I hope we will. But now let's get into the main event of this episode, which was the confrontation between Kivia and her uncle. I really liked the way that she found out that it was her uncle who was this coexister working with the Adventurers Guild. She notices the name that the head of the Adventurers Guild gives her is like this, I think, a northern dialect of this name of a saint. And it's not commonly used that way at all. And apparently, this is the name that Kivia's uncle went by when he was in public when she was a child. So that kind of set it off to her that something was definitely awry there. So obviously, Kivia is very upset that her uncle is a coexister. She sees that as betraying humanity, but he gives such a good answer, and I can't say this is the right answer, obviously, but if you're going to have human villains in a story that's, humans versus demons, this makes the most sense. Like, their reasoning makes a lot of sense where they want to secure their place in this new world after the demons take over. They see humanity is not going to win this battle. So when the humans are eventually defeated, they want to position themselves as kind of the maybe middlemen between the rest of humanity, if they're slaves or just super not well off, but middlemen between the lower tier of humans and then the demons, and hoping that that would allow them and their families and friends to kind of have a better place in this new world. And I really like that motivation. And this is just such a realistic, believable motivation for these human villains. And we've seen things like this happen throughout real history multiple times. Just look up Vichy France from World War II. But Kivia, on the other hand, thinks that he is betraying humanity. She can't believe this. She wants to fight until the very end. And she's not the one who initiates it, but her uncle tries to kill her. Her number 2 in command gets his face blown off. And, so much blood here. But then Kivia does kill her uncle and is arrested, interrogated, put in this prison. And then we see the sentencing guy show up, and we get to see his goddess, which was so cool. I loved her character design, but she is able to summon a book with information on it. So I think he just kind of knows everything because of that power. But the sentencer gives a lot of interesting background information on the first goddess and kind of how the heroes started. Apparently, originally this goddess was summoning people from another world. So she was isekaiing heroes in, but apparently there was like a giant cultural gap that was making it extremely hard to work with them. So instead of isekaiing people, which I guess this is confirmation that Tatsuya was actually isekai'd back in the day, and he's completely lost his mind by now. But apparently, they thought it was a better idea to start summoning dead people from their own world and kind of using them as slaves, really, because that was a lot easier to work with. So that was really interesting. And then Kivia gets the option to either be put to death because she killed the high ranking temple member, or she can choose to be sentenced as a hero. But I didn't know this, and I don't know if this happened with the other heroes, but he told her she has to take her own life. So the last scene we see is her putting her sword to her neck and drawing some blood. So what a fantastic end to a fantastic season 1 of a show. And it felt kind of like a prequel to me, to be honest. Like, this is just getting started, and I'm really excited to see what happens next. But overall, season 1 of Sentenced to Be a Hero was really, really good. I loved the art direction. It was absolutely beautiful. I loved the style. It kind of reminded me of Mushoku Tensei, and probably with even better action scenes than Mushoku Tensei. I love the character designs. They were all very unique, not generic at all. I think my one little gripe with the art direction was in the previous episode with the battle with Bujum. So much was happening. I couldn't really tell what was going on there, but overall, amazing art direction. Soundtrack was great. Then the whole general idea of this story and the heroes, uh, you know, being sentenced to be a hero, not wanting to be a hero, and having that be a punishment was something I've never seen before. So that was a fresh, unique idea. I also really liked this kind of band of misfits working together. All these different heroes are very unique, have their own special ability or power. We see the Dragon Rider with Neely, and we see His Majesty, who is an insane, awesome character. I already mentioned Tatsuya, who has lost his mind, but he's a fantastic fighter. Then we have Xylo, and all of them have these interesting, tragic backstories. I'm assuming that hopefully as we go on, we'll learn more about them. But then including Kivia now into this band of misfits, that'll just make for some really interesting dynamics. I'm excited to see that. I also thought the chemistry between the characters was really well done. Like, the relationship between Xylo and Terata starts off really rocky, and we come to learn that Xylo has a reason for that because he, killed his previous goddess, doesn't want to get close to another goddess. But seeing them grow and trust each other more and just gain this chemistry where they're just a force of nature on the battlefield was really awesome to see. And then when Xylo starts softening up more to Terata, like, there were some really good moments there. And then also with Xylo and Kivia, how that started off and how they would always bicker and kind of see where that evolved was really cool. So characters were phenomenal too. I really liked this season. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Just some minor issues with some of those fight scenes. And again, it just did kind of feel like a prequel. I'm really excited for what is next in this show. So please let me know in the comments below what you thought of this first season of Sentenced to Be a Hero, and let me know if you're excited for the next one. And thanks everyone for following along, and looking forward to doing more of these reviews for the spring season. So please, everyone, take care.